Hello. Okay, so this is a follow-up to my video about how to transform your sensitivity. This is about how to transform your environment, and I realized I had more to say. So these are some do's and don'ts about if you have the tendency to want to change the world around you, or maybe you notice that the world around you needs changed, but you feel helpless, or you freeze, or you don't know what to do. So hopefully this video will give you maybe some new options. I have wanted to change the world since I was a kid. I remember I used to go into grocery stores before I had any clue how challenging it could be to be a parent and what a parent might go through. I remember seeing mothers with their kids on leashes or, harnesses in the grocery store. And I would, comment that they were, I don't know what words I said, but basically I threw some judgment their way, and I thought they were being, overly controlling and so on. So I still have this come up once in a while. The other day I was in the grocery store and there was a man behind me, and I could feel his energy really pushing forward, and I was in front of him, so it was like it was pushing me forward. That's what it felt like, and that's what his energy was doing. And so, being the clairvoyant that I am and the intuitive that I am, I want to change the world. It's like, what do you do in a moment like that? And as the younger self that I was, I would probably have said to him, hey, your energy's pushing forward. Can you back off? But that doesn't really work. That doesn't, maybe once in a while in the moment that'll work, but there's other ways to do it. And the reason I'm telling you that particular story is because in that moment, right as I was feeling like, God, this guy's energy is pushing forward, and I'm like, Urgh, I heard the woman next to him make a joke. And her joke was something like, well, I would let you go first, but, and I forget what she said, but in terms of like why she wouldn't let him go first. But basically, immediately, by her laughter, by her joking, and her even offering, that potentially offering that he could have gone, he backed off. And I was like, whoa, okay, take note. This is how you do it. And these are the things that now I'm grateful because I get paid to tell people the truth. But I used to tell people the truth that didn't want to hear the truth, and it didn't come out very nice, and people didn't like it. And yet the world still needs to change. And you probably, almost anyone I know would agree, there's lots of imbalance in the world right now. So how do we transform the energy around us, or how do we transform our environments in a way that works, in a way that's honoring of everybody and everything, and actually is more effective? So the don'ts. Number one, don't oppose the energy. So that's what I used to do. And that's the tendency that comes up here and again, now and again. Because I learned from each of my parents having challenging upbringings in their own way, have each of them having conflict in their upbringings, and then seeing the conflict between them, I got the idea that conflict was normal in my younger years, and so it seemed normal, and so I continued it. The other don't, so I'm going to give you three don'ts. So, excuse me, I don't have a little tripod for the phone. Try to hold it steady. So one don't is don't oppose the energy, because if you fight the energy or separate from the energy, you ultimately undermine your power and your effectiveness, and people don't feel very good. The second don't is don't overextend your energy. So I've done that one too. That's where something out there needs changing. So it could be somebody in your life needs fixing, and you want to bend over backwards and do more than you feel comfortable with because you so want them to change for whatever reason that you overextend. Or you're trying to get a guy to like you, or you're trying to prove that you're successful or whatever. And so you maybe push too hard, or you work too hard, or you chase somebody who doesn't want to be chased. And these are ways we overextend that, again, they dilute our power. They're not effective. The other thing that a lot of people do is to contract and to give up, to feel helpless, to feel hopeless, to make yourself small, to convince yourself that what you want to change will never change, or that your idea doesn't matter, or maybe even that you're wrong, so you can turn that judgment in towards yourself. And a lot of times when we see that change is needed in the world, we think we're judging the world, when we're actually just seeing something that if we can stay in our center and approach it in a creative way, we can transform it, like that woman masterfully did in the grocery store. without having to oppose it, overextend, or contract or give up. I see the number one thing I see in the world just as a whole is people give up. People are so passive. And I think that's why, besides the particular parents and upbringing I had, I think that's another reason why I chose to oppose and speak up maybe in ways that weren't always as harmonious, because it was like I so wanted to fight the numbness. I so wanted to counter all that passive energy that I saw around me. It really upset me. So anyway, those are the 3 don'ts. What to do. So what to do, as I told in the story, if there's a way that you can include the person, and I learned this in Aikido. You've probably, if you've been following my blog at all, or have known me for a while, you know that I used to practice Aikido, which is a martial art from Japan. And it's based on the concept of, one of the concepts it includes is when somebody comes to you in a way that might appear to be an attack. So they use punches, they use strikes. They don't refer to that person as your opponent or your enemy. They refer to that person as your partner in training. And so your partner comes with this energy, and the punch could represent any energy, by the way. It doesn't have to be a negative or violent energy. It could be desire that comes your way. It could be, somebody's just really excited or really passionate and directing it towards you for whatever reason. And so any energy that comes your way, or it could be a judgment or a negative thing, whatever, the way that they work with that energy is to find harmony by working with your partner's energy instead of against it, or instead of running away and, again, diminishing your power and weakening yourself. So if in life you can find a way to creatively include the person or the energy you don't like, and find an option to bring in some playfulness and to make a little bit of light of it perhaps, but still stay in your center, stay in your power. So if this isn't making sense, maybe Google some Aikido videos and look for those to see it like physically in action. But I'm going to give you actually an exercise to try, which I think will be helpful. And you can do this probably not while you're watching the video, unless you happen to have somebody standing right next to you right now that you can try this with. Otherwise, you can do it later when you do have somebody who's a guinea pig. Is to just, as you're with somebody, and you can do this in your life. You don't have to even tell this person what you're doing. But when you're with somebody in your life, I would suggest that you try 3 different things. So first, try, as you're with this person, focusing only on yourself, and notice what that feels like. The second option is to focus. The second suggestion I'll make is to, shift gears and then focus only on the other person. And the third option would be to, again, shift gears and try to focus or decide to focus simultaneously on yourself and the other person. And as you do that, notice which one feels more normal, or if one feels like something you do in certain circumstances. For example, whenever I get scared, I do this, or whenever I, whatever, and with this specific situation, I tend to do this. So just notice that. And if you're with somebody who you're, consciously, you're telling them what you're doing, and they're doing this as an exercise with you, you might take turns doing that, and then actually compare notes and say, okay, what did you notice here? What did you notice here? And notice, did you, when you were paying attention only to yourself, did they also think you were paying attention only to yourself? Did they feel your energy there in them or in you, or were you a million miles away? And then when your focus was only on them, how did that feel to them, etc., etc.? The key in all of this is to stay in your own center and yet include the energy around you. That's how we can transform the world. So I hope that was helpful, and thank you so much for watching. Bye.